The gate was €1,044,501. And the bonuses, fight of the night was Dill versus Delby. Performance of the night, Breeze and Siri. So, got any questions?
Hi, first one for Dolby. Yeah. First of all, your thoughts on your bonus there?
I'm really excited to get it.
Any? Of course. And then obviously your thoughts on obviously both coming out without having a loss. We spoke before the fight about your mental preparations and how you kind of you think of all situations, even about losing, how you're going to prepare yourself for that. But could you ever imagine preparing yourself for a result like that?
No, you know, it's so seldom that it's a draw. So you know, I kind of figured that. Well, after the fight was done, I thought draw would maybe be the best decision, but you know, I was kind of preparing myself for a loss. But I think a draw was the right decision. You know, we both gave our hearts in the cage, and yeah. And
you really put the pressure on him at the last round. Where did that kind of motivation or that drive come from?
I came from my coach, Tu Trenga. He looked into my soul, and he found the sharpshooter that was needing in the first 2 rounds, and then yeah, I didn't go full retard, but close to it.
Congrats. And then just to Ashlyn, over here at the front. Obviously, Irish are making waves in the UFC, obviously with this event and the last event. But what's it like being a female and being the first kind of female Irish fighter making that history?
To be honest, it was a huge thing for me to be part of this. You know, when I started in the UFC, To be honest, it was a huge thing for me to be part of this. When I started competing in mixed martial arts, Dana was still, there'll never be women in the octagon, so I definitely took a couple of moments making the walk to have a look down on my little Reebok UFC tracksuit and say, yous wouldn't have us, and now here I am making the walk, so I enjoyed every minute of it. So it's huge to be part of the first women's UFC fight in Ireland. That's amazing to me. I'm so proud of my achievement. You know, I've came from nowhere and I made this happen, so I'm happy.
Question for Lewis. Great performance today. It's been a roller coaster of a week for you. You came in as a main card fighter, then you were the co-main event, now you're the main event, and you've picked up a massive win. Tell us about basically your experiences of the week and how you've dealt with all of these changes and then going in there in front of a lion's den of opposition fans and getting the victory.
It's nothing I haven't been through before. I've had to fight in hostile territory a lot. I've always had to basically fight in someone else's hometown or never my own hometown. And it was interesting. The crowd was not like nothing I've ever heard before. Like when we were facing off, it was deafening. So it was a bit of an experience, but you know, I just try to tell myself to let it go and just keep my head in it and not freak out.
And one for James, if I may. Your first event at the helm. It's been an interesting one, as you said. How have you found it, having to deal with all these challenges, dealing with fight pullouts and things like that during the course of a tricky week or two?
It certainly has been tricky, but I think that one of the things that I'm blessed with, frankly, is a fantastic team that's been here and been doing these shows for a number of years now. So I think we were all hoping that tonight was going to be as good as it was last year, and I think we can all safely say that it was. So, you know, what the fans have done this week has been incredible, and these fighters here put on a show as well, which I'm not sure many people will forget. And when I was chatting to Dana just after the fight, he said to me that he wanted me to let everybody know that he's travelled the world, obviously putting on these shows, and Dublin is without doubt the best fight town on the planet.
Question for Neil Siri. You've been in some amazing fights in the past, haven't got a bonus, but you got one tonight. How does it feel?
It feels great. 50 grand up. How would you feel if you had 50 grand?
Pretty good.
Do you want to lend?
Tom, we spoke in the post-fight media scrum about if you got the 50 Gs, you'd get out of the dorms at TriStar. Is that the plan now?
Yeah, maybe. I might just let it sit in my bank a bit, but yeah, see how it goes, you know.
with London around the corner in February, you did say that apart from Bisping, there's been a lack of stars in the UFC emerging from England. But you said that you're a part of that new wave. So what is it about you and this new wave of fighters coming from England?
I just feel like it's the UK's time. There's a lot of fighters coming out of there, a lot of good fighters, and I think there's some good UK fighters on the card tonight that showed their talent.
And a quick question for Ashlyn. Congratulations on the performance. Again, in the media scrum, we just speak about the weight class being up and down and perhaps only needing a win or two before you can potentially get a title shot. I don't know if you saw this, but on Twitter, Claudia Gadella did throw some heat towards your way and throw an insult at you. Have you got a message for her if she's watching this right now?
I don't care about you. That would be pretty much it. Whatever she thinks or says is completely irrelevant to me. It doesn't affect my little bubble of happiness. I live in this world of positivity, and she always has something to say, and I don't care. But if the fight happens, it happens. This is the sport. I'll fight anybody. That's what I said. But I don't have time to be getting into Twitter battles. I think she has a bit too much time on her hands, and I think she's a bit of a hothead. She overreacts to nothing, pretty much, it seems.
Thank you.
Question for Norman. Hey, Ian. Congrats on a great performance, Norman. You're coming off 2 defeats on your way into this fight. Did you, at any moment in your preparation, think you were fighting for your job this evening?
100%. Since my last one in Brazil, I understood that was a possibility coming into my next fight. So I just had to stay positive the whole time. And there was a lot of pressure, like stepping in there tonight. I felt that there was a lot of pressure. He was coming at me aggressive. I know he was off for a couple of years, but there was a lot of pressure going into that fight. So I was happy to get the win. I wish I could have got the finish, but at least I got the win, so I lived to fight another day.
Absolutely. And after a convincing win like that, is there anyone in particular you'd want to fight next?
No, nobody really. Like I know you're in the UFC, they want you to completely destroy your opponent, and then that's when you can ask for bigger matchups. So I would love to fight again in December, to be honest, because I never really had the opportunity to fight pretty quick. I've usually had an injury, this or that, so it would be great to get a quick turnaround. I feel not too bad, so December maybe. So I don't really care who it is, to be honest. I feel like I can match up pretty well with anyone.
Sounds good. And question for Neil. Neil, 3.5 years ago, after a defeat, you announced your retirement from MMA. When you look back now, having gone 7-2 and just after claiming a 50 grand bonus, how would you kind of sum up the roller coaster that had been the last 3.5 years?
Yeah, obviously I was disappointed when I lost over in Ukraine. But good team behind me. They all geared me on, and I just put the head down and just kept working. And this is where I ended up,
I have a... Me? Doesn't... Okay, thank you. I have a question for Darren Till and Nicholas Dalby. First of all, congrats on a very, very entertaining fight. And is there something specific both of you have learned from this fight? And we can start with you, Darren.
Specific, I've got to congratulate Nicholas. He's a tough fighter. We went the distance. We had a really good fight. I'm just taking experience. I'm very young in MMA. I only started in MMA 4 years ago. So, I'm young in the game. I'm always learning. I've moved myself to Brazil to continue following my dream. So I always take something from fights. I'm always learning and evolving. So, I'm happy with tonight. A few things happened, but I'm still happy.
Yeah, it was a tough fight, as Darren said, and my hat's off to him as well. Did I learn anything specific? He hits hard. But no, I just gotta look at the video for this fight and see where I got caught and where I can do it better to keep winning fights, hopefully.
Just a follow-up for Darren. You spoke prior to the fight and you were kind of questioning Dalby's willingness to finish fights. Have you changed your mind after this one?
Dalby, he's seen an opening in the third. I don't know if he knew, he's seen I was hurt or what. He went for it. you know. But it's just from what I've seen from past fights, you know, Nicholas, you know, as I said, he's intelligent. He knows how to win fights. That's what he does. He's a grinder, you know. But he's, you know, if any fighter sees a finish, he's gonna go for it. So you know, just like me in the first round when I hit him with that uppercut, you know, I think there was about 5 seconds to go, and I wanted to take his face off, but you know, the bell rang.
Just the last one for the UFC. As you probably know, we here in Denmark have a hard time watching the UFC because of, you know, some problems with the rights and whatnot. Is that something that you are aware of and can fix in the future?
We are, and we made the fight night tonight available on Fight Pass. There's obviously our previous channel, Channel 8 and Channel 9, were bought by a different group, and they had some changes in their scheduling. So it's something that we're aware of, something that we're working through with the rights holders, but they were very gracious and allowed us to make it available on Fight Pass for our fans.
Thank you.
Question for Tom, down at the front on your left, Tom. So you were working with Lucien Boutet up at TriStar where you're striking. How much of a benefit is it to be in there working with people of that sort of quality, and also obviously working alongside like Rory McDonald and Firas up there at TriStar?
Yeah, you know, when you train with the best in the world, you know, it's going to take your level up, and you know, it's going to keep you sharp. And when you train with the best and you get in there with someone that is lower level, you know, you're used to training at the highest level, and you know, you're going to be better.
A question for Lewis. I'm behind the podium. I don't think you can see me. Hey. First of all, congratulations on a big win. Afterwards, unfortunately, there was a little bit of negative fan reaction. You know, some beers were thrown and such. I believe it, like both you and at your team. Does that like take anything away from the experience? Because it seemed like even like one of the photographers, my colleague, was hit by a tennis ball.
Well, with passionate fans, like you have to expect like a lot of backlash and things like that. I was kind of expecting it. It wasn't that bad to me, to be honest. Like it's something I was prepared for. I mean, of course, someone's gonna get mad if you beat their hometown boy. You know, it would be the same if we fought in Hawaii. You know, and like he beat me. Hawaii would go nuts. They'd be throwing shit, screaming. Like it would be pandemonium. So you know, it's just part of the sport. You know, you have to kind of just go with it.
And then for Norman Park.
Sorry, what was the question?
No, I have a new question.
What was that?
I have a new question.
Oh, sure.
First, also congratulations on a win. In the third round, it looked like you were reaching, you know, to sort of shake hands. You know, instead received a punch. What was your reaction to that?
What was that the start of the round?
It looked like it. I mean, it might have just been the angle.
No, I never really realised that, to be honest, but it is what it is, you know. If you never wanted to shake hands, then so be it. We were just there to fight, so that was it.
And do you feel like, you know, on both sides of you know, the beef is completely squashed and you get...
Yeah, it's just a bit of fun, you know. I was never ever going to get ready for the whole fight without saying something, you know, and, you know, it created a bit of hype, and maybe the fight should have lived up to it a little bit more, but, you know, it was good just to get the win and get back on track, really.
And just one last one for both Till and Dalby. Ahead of this fight, me and some colleagues were talking, and one mentioned that, you know, the best thing that could happen to the two of you is if it ended in a draw, because you would both stay undefeated and you'd both still be hot prospects in the UFC. Do you guys feel like, you know, this is almost in some ways a victory?
Well, in a way, yeah, because, you know, Darren's a good guy, so it would suck for me to give him a first defeat, but on the other hand, it's fight business, so, you know, we have to do that, but yeah, it was okay with a draw. You know, the fight was what it was, and I think a draw was, to me, from what I remember. He hit me a couple of times, so I don't remember all of it, I think. But that was you know, maybe a perfect situation, and we got a bonus, so I'm happy.
Yeah, it's good to stay undefeated. You know, it brings a lot of stuff to the game. Obviously, us as Europeans, we're trying to bring it to America, and we're trying to get our champions. And it was a good fight with Dalby. You know, I want to watch the fight as well myself.